Hello guys, and we are back. Just going to do some price card update, or let's say from the recent sets released that are still legal in standard. And we know that the rotation will finally happen this year with these sets from Initial Reminiscing Hunt up to Streets of New Capena will be out in the format. And so we're just going to see the rest of this. We have quite a lot since our last price check updates for these sets. We'll see that what will be the possible changes or circulations of these cards that will be having that of the value after the rotation. So we're just going to do this in a bit. So starting off, of course, Domina United. So this will be the first set that is on the edge of the rotation this coming month. And as you can see here, we're just going to do a tabletop price check by sorting this out, in which again we see that Shouldered Apocalypse is still the most high priced mythic in this set, followed by Liam of the Veil. So you can see the price difference here. Liam of the Veil has very much become a very affordable card, but for the gameplay, I think Shouldered has basically proven that it is one of the best cards that was printed in the game. And followed of course another mythic Timeless Lotus, and then Lens Binding for a rare card that's 11.05. Then Pass of Heroes, that's another rare land, 8.99 lockdown, so on and so forth. As you can see, most of these cards with the variants, Braids and Hexcatcher from the Merfolk, Tribal Merfolk in Modern, and the Tribal Lord Left Round Missionary for the Elves, and Cruelty of Geeks as seen as the another standard worthy card, and Shivan Vestator for Mono Red, along with Sulphur Springs, and these are the two mythics that has also fallen out, 3.85 and 3.78 for the Elder and the Paragon. But as you can see, this probe might be your chance to buy some of them if you are not yet maybe playing a playset or having a playset of this, as they might be that of the price adjustment will happen after the rotation, and they might see again some gameplay, especially this card, as this is still a very potential card in this standard format that is very useful. As for me, I've decided to somewhat invest on a Janus Fever Agent. It has still a best ability that can work well with the green-white counters or green-white aggro deck. So having this one at 2.42 at the moment, this might be the best time for you guys to buy this card. Let's check on some of the comments. If you are going with checking the Pauper format, as we know that we have a lot of these cards that are domain worthy in that format, the Pauper. So most of these are still going on the fair price, though Destroy Evil will be probably still the best common in the current format with a price of more than $1, 1.8. Torrent Terror as follows, and Containment Aquifer, which is the Island Swamp dual land common. You can see the rest are basically dual lands. So these are maybe some of the cards that are, if you are playing for the format, then this will still be worth the buy if you are going to add those to your collection. Now let's proceed to the next playset. It's of course the Brothers War. We're going to check if the Geeks is still worth the price as of this video upload posting. So tabletop price, it has fallen below that already of the Portal to Phyrexia. Portal to Phyrexia will still be the best card in the set. For the Mythic, it's $24.99. Geeks is $21.12. That's basically about 1,000 pesos here in the local price. Then followed by Muriel, which is just still around $20. Cityscape Leveler Mythic is 12.60. Titania is 11. Awaken the Woods still going well. I think this one still have some good gameplay post rotation. Ursa Lord Protector has fallen out, is still 9.88. The content also still affordable now. Teferi is 6.83, Loran is 6.21. This has rise again for basically before it was just around $4 to $5. But the Suits End is 6, one with the multiverse mythic, and then Mishra is 5.53. With some lands that follows here, Underground River, we have Battlefield Forge, which are still going with more than $3 to $4. And our best uncommon with the set is High Wire Might, which is now at 3.41 USD. That's about 200 pesos maybe in local price. We still have Buena, Brushlands, Larva Waste at and the next uncommon would be Dimension Field. That's the version of the Field of Ruin, which is at 2.42. And for checking on the commons, we check on the commons. So we are again fan of the pauper format. We see that most of the lands are just basic. The basic land full arts are the worth of value. But I think these cards like this one, Guess Gift and Large Escape, are still seeing gameplay in most of the archetypes. So followed by Falange Archaeologist. I think this is used in the mono blue decks. With Reunion for the artifact reanimation, reclamation also, Scrapwork Mat and some decks, but this is not, I think, going also with the not the pauper but more of the higher constructed formats. And third part is used in blue-white control variants, Glass Runner, and of course this is in pauper, as well as Dwarven Forge Chanter, which can prowess also in itself. So I guess that's pretty much it for the Brothers War. Let's check the pricing for the next card, which is the Prexia OB1. Just another quick rundown on this. Let's check the tabletop price. The highest card would still be Moondrak, and Moondrak has exceeded already. It's around $42. It was before around 40, but I think it has also increased in the past. Let's see, the price change weekly is just 1%. In the Traxa has somewhat increased by 15%. As you can see here, it's now 25.56 in a week change. Maybe for the playability of this card that has also gone for a few times. And we have Elish Norn Mother Machines still at 21.50. The Prection version is 20, and then there's also some variants over here. All Will Be One is at $17, and then 22% increase. Then Brushka has made a 23% increase with the price value. I think I bought this before for around $7 to $8, and now it's $12. Just Perfect in Mind is still maintaining a high price, somewhat stabilized at 11. Zupandrel and then 10. Ternax Rex, most are still somewhat playable, but Mirex has somewhat decreased. Sadly, I was not able to keep more of this. Maybe I should have bought more for the play set before it has gone up in value. And most of these, the correction versions, and Nisa is 6.46. This is still used in the Golgari decks. Okay, so that's minus 4%. We check on the lands. Stand lands are still worth the value. We have Sigram Coast at 4, Darkleaf Shores at 3.86. And most of the lands such as Magazine Gardens, which still is popular. I think this is still used in the versions of tapping artifacts, non-token artifacts. So that's still around 3.51. Blackleaf Cliffs is at 3.28. Copperline as 2.63. Whereas the rest are maybe going well with the average mana value as expected for most of these rares and mythics. And probably the highest uncommon here is Gleeful Demotion because of the Boros Convoke. That's 2.64. Shoulder's Edict is 2.53. They're just neck by neck in the price. And another uncommon is Tiber Stand. This is still worth the value. Now for the commons, I think they're not something that really notable here, unless of course this one, the basic lands with the design, the Perection basic lands. You can see here, this is about $2. It's quite unique as compared to the other lands with the same kind of batch of Perection frame, as we can say. But the difference is still somewhat different from that of the swamp. Yeah, anyway, the experimental augury is 0.69. This is still playable in most of the blue-white control decks. You have a variance of this, and maybe even in Dimir. and the rest are just this one. I think Reis is still popular here for the versions of control that relies on poison counters. Also, a Night Reflection is still a good sideboard card in some maybe main deck. And Brushcast Fall and this one are just more of the commons. I think the popular one would be that of the compiling the Ban Toxic archetype in standard, which we have a Crawling Chorus in the main deck, as well as we have also Charge of the Mites. So these are the usual suspects in that build. So we're just going to have some of this in the near coming months after the rotation. You would expect that this would still see gameplay after that one. So for the March of the Machine, we have we're just going now to check on the tabletop, along as well some of the notable commons are just going to bypass for now. We have Shieldred still as the highest price in the set, that's $21, along with Italy, which is a rare card, still very popular in most of the Reanimator big red or Rakdos mid-range decks, $20. Invasion by Korea still going well. It's not it has fallen below 20 before, but I think 14 USD is still a fair price for it. Or Brass is still at 13.7. Fairy Mastermind is still going with the $12, as well as Tribute to the World 3. I've seen some quiet decks of this for the green-white decks, or maybe even for the mono-red, mono-green aggro decks. The Tambay version are using this. A playset copy of this in the main deck. And then we have also lit the tokens counters. I'm not sure which, they're just not yet that popular in the current standard format. And then it's followed by Breach the Multiverse. That's still at around 8.18. It has risen by 9% for this. Then Holding Klex still have some variants decks. It's still at 7.61. Then we have Night Errand of AOS 7.23, but it has a weekly difference in the price of 15%. But nevertheless, it's still very popular in the Boros Convoke deck. Then we have Elish Norn and Sunfall as most of the cards that follows here in the price rank. Ren and Yambreaker has suddenly still at 5.99. Chandra, I think, would still have some potential post-rotation, but sadly she's not yet one of the win conditions in the Rakdos mid-range decks, so she just stayed at around 5.56 USD. The Sword of Once in Future may be having some potential soon. Maybe after the rotation we'll have this, as long as Artifact Hate would not really that matter in the format. And also Invasion Gobakan for the mono white or the Boros aggro would still have to use this. So we have price of 4.76. Mono Red's Invasion Tarkir is not yet that done on this set, but sadly it's still at around 4.62. And Chromo Seed Shark as the win condition for most of the control decks, and the sideboard setup is still going here. You have a few notables here. Mentor for the blue-white Mentor decks. City on Fire. These are not yet seeing gameplay now, I think. You have also some variants of the dual legends. Darna Elbala, Galtai Mavren. Maybe this is in Pioneer. Italian Gitrug Monster still has not yet seen some. Maybe in the 4-color or 5-color legends. Then Kami Whispered Hopes for the uncommon as the best uncommon in the set. As you can see, aside also, and next is Litomantic Barrage with the Search of Salvation, of course, that follows this. And the only common I think that is notable to mention is the Corrupted Conviction, which is about more than $1. That's 1.19 in the current market price. So it has risen above the Rent's Resolve, which is this was before $2 mark, but it's now at the 0.90. That's basically about 50 pesos here in the local price. Okay, next we check on the Aftermath. I think the only card that is seen here would be that of Tisa because of the lands deck, the Sultai lands that has popularized lately. So Nisa Resorted Animist is at 20.20. It has rose by 6% in the week, and followed by Calyx, which is in the Constellation or the enchantment decks, the Celestial enchantments. That's 13.6. Then Karn, Legacy Reforged, Sarkhan, Jungle Fearblock still has a value 4.6 as a sideboard card for the green decks. And then Training Grounds, Nares, Narset, even though Nexilis still has not yet seen some standard gameplay as of this video posting. Somewhat might have some play in the red-green haste creatures, but its value-wise is not yet that, let's say, as costly as before. Then we have Tyvar version, that's only 2.31. We have also Sigarda, which I think will have some potential post-rotation, of course. And up in the way, this is just another rare that goes with searching cards and revealing lands. Maybe the variants of these kinds of decks will emerge after that said rotation. And only highest uncommon is Coppercoat Vanguard, that's 0.45. And no other commons they not have really that much of a value. And then Wild Soul Drain, we have three more sets to go before we wrap up this video. We have to check again most of the standard worthy cards from the set, and of course we still have Agatha's Soul Cauldron as the highest priced card in this Wild Soul Drain at 44.97. Which is the mirror, maybe some seeing a slight gameplay, but we would expect more if there are versions of cards that are worth a bargain that can be casted for free here. So 20.31 is still a fair price. Virtual Persistence, king for the Golgari decks, still one of the staple removals that is still a utility in the late game. The same with Virtual Loyalty for the Esper, since maybe if Raffin is going out, maybe you can still have a blue-white flash version that uses Virtual Loyalty in the token generators that can be pumped by some counters on this. Moonshaker Cavalry, this is at 13.23, but I think would still be worthy after the rotation if they can have some ways to somewhat cheat this out into play. As you can see, the hard casting cost is very high as of that if you want to go with hard casting it. And then we have several virtues here that can still have some potentials with the deck innovations. Blossoming Tortoise would still stay as a potential Golgari for the upcoming set if maybe if you can still have the core cards intact, I think. And then Talion would have maybe a good mid-range Dimir card to use in the kind of archetype that you can say. Then we have the rest. Questing Druid, the rare, 3.4. Picklock Prankster has now risen to 2.32. I think I sold this one for a few cents, but it's now high at about 177%. I think I've kept a few foils on this, so maybe we can still have a value of those selling is one. Then we have Struggle Midnight, still the good uncommon before, but it's now surpassed by the Picklock Prankster. It's still at 2.20. Then we have more Virtue, Kaylan, Charming Scundler has maybe 9% down. Up the Beanstalk is still popular despite the bannings in some formats. Then the only highest card in this set is Restless Cottage, that is 1.70 USD. Then the rest are just variants. Monstrous Rage is very high at 38%. That's 1.66. It was before only about a dollar, so still worth it. It's even higher than that of Mosswood Dread Knight, but this would the Dread Knight will still be a core feature now with the Golgari decks after the rotation. Then we have Lord Skeeter still at $1. Hilda, Mythic, Decadent Dragon. I think this would be still a potential card for rotation because of its ability that can get you to play 2 cards by exiling them, and then you still get a 4/4 body Flying Trampler creature. Regal Bonicorn again for still the tokens kind or token book text will still remain after the rotation. And these are the rest, like Miss Luther, Agatha, the Sad Mythic. And I think that's pretty much it for this set. You still have some potentials here, but if you are seeing some usual cards that are still seeing gameplay in standard still at a low cost, then I know that they would still have those same status right after the rotation. And maybe you just invest now on that pricing, as they are still pretty much low in value as of the moment. Now for the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, Cavern of Souls would still be a good card to have here. That's 37.31. Roaming Throne has somewhat exceeded already for the $30 value, but surprisingly, I think I've only seen the gameplay with the Angels tribal deck in standard. But aside from it, I think it's still not yet that popular in the format, but maybe in the older formats, I think this is still worth the play. That's why it still have this tabletop price of very high as of this posting. Then it's followed by Ojar Top. The white Ojar is still getting the 11% increase. The Wix, also with the Chimil, the Inner Sun, it is now 16 USD with a 5% increase. Bloodletter, I think, would still have for the Mono Black or the Rakdos Agro. So that's the $15 mark. Still a good price for it. I still do hope that it would be below $10, so we can still have some window for us to purchase it at somewhat the lowest price, but we'll see. And then we have Galta, that's 12.2, followed by Bonehorde Dracosaur. It's still at 11. It was dropped from 20, but seeing this now, some kind of gameplay in the Rakdos deck is still very potential wise. Then we have Tishana's Tidebinder. This rare is still going well. I think more so with the rotation, as well as Get Lost, since this is still the solid white removal now in the format. So it has now increased by 13%, so $9. Then the Ojar Red, that's 8, but I think this would see also play after the rotation if the Mono Red would still become a good deck to invest. But I think that archetype still won't really lose its value even after a few rotations would happen. Scalper Nexus is now below 7, but it has increased by 4. Atlas Sots, which may probably my favorite creature at the moment in my Rakdos deck, it's still 4% increase, but I think the 6.3 price is really affordable now. Then we have Preacher of the Schism, which is now Rakdos and Dimir, and even for the Esper card staple, that's 4.84, as well as Inti, which are my 3 creatures in my deck currently. Then we have Gishat. Sans Avatar has not yet seen again some standard gameplay in maybe only in the Dinosaurs deck. That Odger Green, also from the mid-range or the Stumpy decks in Mono Green, it's at 4.31. So these are the rest. We have some variants also with the Resplendent Angel. Maybe with the increase of the Angel's Tribal deck, then we can have this one as a potential card to also increase in value. And you can see some staple cards already, such as Warden, which is Boros Kunbok staple, Bitter Triumph also, and of course some lands that are added here. Now if you can check the commons, let's check the last time for the commons. So no other notable here aside from the Titan Blade, which is popular in most of the black based decks in the format for the Pauper. Also with Fanatical Offering, this is used also to sacrifice Titan Blade or any other treasure token to draw 2 cards and create a map token. And Tomb Raider is also used for that kind of setup. And that's pretty much it for that, for the commons. And let's check on last but not the least is the Murders of Carwol Manor. Why it's called it's Ravnica? I think this is just only Murders of Carwol Manor. So tabletop price, you can see here the overall price is 276 as of the current. Then the Vine Reaper would still be the best card here, but it's only 21.97. It has slowly losing value. It's now minus 8% in the past week. Delny still at 19, still above nearing the $20 mark. That is about 1,000 pesos locally. Then we have Leyline of the Gale Pack, but has also stabilized somewhat in 14.95 price. Massacre Girl, still some gameplays shown, but maybe in post rotation, we can see here now in full action, maybe in the Golgari decks or the Mirror decks variants. So for the 91, it's still, I think, still very high for that price. We can still observe in the coming weeks if the price would somewhat lower down for us to invest. Then some of the lands here under City Seawares, Tangar Watawari, are still worth around the range of $10 to $11. And Wardila's Call would be the best card for the Boros, is still at 10. Anjak is 9.7, but I think this is already seeing play in the red-green aggro decks, but it has fallen in 9% in the past week. Okay, the rest would be just the lands. They have some difference here, but I think black-green would still be the worthy cards, and blue-black are worth the investment. Then we have Rakdos, Kapitan Chaos, maybe for the mid-range decks, can still have this one. Not yet for the gameplay. I think this is still too slow now for the standard format, but maybe in a kind of shell of a deck that can still be able to resolve this and have this ability happen, then it would still worth the value. But going below now, the $10 mark would already affect its somewhat performance in the standard format. Okay, the rest, we still have some of the lands here that says come stabilize in the losing below the $5 mark. And Cryptic Coat is now back to its probably the stable price of 3.54, and the highest common in the set, Slime Against Humanity, is still at around $3 mark. And Forensic Gaditier is 2.93. The Assassin's Trophy is now 2.61. The uncommon, best uncommon maybe in the set is No More Lies, that's 2.04. Conspire and Leveler Mythic, then it's still at very cheap price now. And the next uncommon will be Insidious Roots and Crime Novelist. These are now $2 and 1.91 respectively. So still of the most potential cards here, I think I'm going with the Incinerator of the Guilty. In my opinion, will still become a good card in the rotation. Also, the Cupid Throw will still be a stabilizer sideboard with the blue-white decks. So at the current price, it's still, I think, still safe to buy a playset of this for reservation later on. For the rest, Vindicator, the Sad Mythic has still fallen out of value. We have some variants here that maybe Trostani would still get some play after the rotation. So getting this one at $1.48 is very, I think it's still very safe to buy this at the moment. Also with Itrata, I think some of these would have some potential, especially if we are going with, let's say this is an assassin kind of tribal, the tribal deck that might be that of getting support in the future sets. Also, we have still a good variants of mythics and rares here that are having some potentials, but sadly having this value also just very cheap for them. So it would just be at high price that you can buy them at the current value. If you still have some, let's say some extra that you can use and maybe have them as just backup components in case of the variants of decks will arise in the coming sets. Let's say with the release of the new set Outlaws, maybe some of these cards would have to be that of use for that new strategies and the mechanics introduced by the set. So I guess that's it for this. We don't really have a good coverage. That's already 30-minute mark as of my recording. But anyways, I think you guys still get the idea that more of these cards would still have some changes in the coming weeks and months as new sets will arrive and maybe produce some new deck archetypes in the format of standard and other older formats. So I guess that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for watching. I do hope you stay up to this point. Don't forget to like, subscribe. We can still have this one, another update on this in the near future. Maybe after the release of Outlaws, we can still have another good discussion about this, the pricing and other card and deck updates. Again, thank you guys for watching and see you on the next video.